Our next story is about a company that has become a household name. We're going to talk about Amazon. Amazon has launched an online car sales platform in partnership with Hyundai. So now Amazon is selling cars. It's available in 48 US cities, and of course, it's you can buy new Hyundai vehicles from their local participating dealers. And then they basically offer a comprehensive online car purchasing experience, where you can actually browse, even work on details related to financing the vehicles, and just like anything else on Amazon, arrange delivery of your vehicle. Work on the exactly when the delivery, when you want the vehicle to be delivered. So there were some concerns about, okay, now if Amazon is here, what do the dealerships do? Amazon has made clear that the dealership, even with them coming over here, the dealership will remain integral to the sales process. Amazon over here will just act as an intermediary, not as a direct seller. It's kind of like, how if you buy something on Amazon where it says shipped by Amazon or made available by Amazon. I don't exactly know what the term is, but Amazon is not directly selling that product, but it's just kind of an intermediary, probably providing their warehouses, etc., for that product. So similarly, Amazon here is providing all sorts of services to sell that vehicle. It's marketing and you being able to browse and finance it, etc. But at the end of the day, it'll be the dealership that'll be selling the vehicle to the customer at the end of the day. They've also launched a limited time incentive for $2,300 in a gift card, and that's valid till January 10th of next year, 2025. So if you're interested, feel free to check them out. Of course, you have to be one of those 48 cities, but if you are, then good luck on buying your new vehicle. Hope that works out for you. And now, if you're talking about innovation in cars, then we have to talk about Mercedes-Benz. Okay, so Mercedes-Benz have unveiled the future, or at least their future vision for automotive innovation. They've highlighted a couple of points here, and we'll just quickly go through some of the interesting ones. It's a very long article, and of course, all the links will be in the description. You can go through this at your own pace as well. One of the most interesting points was one of the more interesting points, probably not the most interesting, was integration of hyper personalized experience into their cars. This might use AR and mixed reality XRs, related technologies in the coming future, which might mean your windscreen might actually display information that is coming from your device, or from some sort of network that the vehicle is connected with. It might display routing information like Google Maps or something similar. It might even show you some navigation information. Hey, remind me tomorrow that I need to pick up this thing from the grocery market. So it might just show you that specific thing, and probably ask you, hey, do you want me to route you there, etc. So all that information will start becoming more and more visible to you through AR and XR related technologies. They're also going to invest more into neuromorphic computing, and specifically in the energy efficiency features for neuromorphic computing. And by neuromorphic computing, it really just means smart networks, smart cars that can talk to each other and can pretty much understand their users, their drivers' needs. But why energy efficiency? Energy efficiency is super important because I can create an amazing software that works on my desktop today and impressed a few people. But as soon as that software gets out in the real world, when it gets deployed into hundreds of thousands of vehicles that are running in live traffic, the amount of energy that this software consumes and will determine how many cars or how many vehicles can afford to run that software, because of course that energy is going to come from somewhere, either through your electrical charge or from gasoline, however you're running your car, some fuel source. And then the lesser that energy is, the higher the more you can run, the more you can push that software to run more features, and of course it has to talk to all the other cars that are running in real-time traffic. So this means a lower energy usage will mean it can work at a real-time pace. It is not going to slow down because of lack of energy, etc. So that's one of the goals for neuromorphic computing, to be able to handle real-time intelligent networks and handle real-time work traffic, not just be a demo software that kind of falls apart when you take it in the real world. The second thing here is advanced materials. So they've actually listed out a couple of use cases here. So they are actually going towards multiple types of advanced materials with innovative features. For example, they're looking at biodegradable materials, which are such as high performance silk, which is extremely lightweight and strong, and people can of course they can use it for making seat covers and all sorts of interior paneling, and it because it's very strong, it's rugged, it can take on all the daily wear and tear and still look good. They're trying to introduce aerodynamic and maintenance free braking, which means of course the maintenance on your brakes goes down, as well as the efficiency of the vehicle goes up. They are also introducing solar paintwork, and according to them, they've actually listed its efficiency somewhere. Yeah, so it could generate enough electricity for about 7,500 miles per year. That's kind of a rough number, but of course that's going to be, for now, that's the max cap on that, and that too if the sun is out, perfect, there are never no clouds that can block the generation of electricity, etc. But of course this is the first version of this paint, right? So this is only going to become better. So hopefully in the future you might have a car that generates its own source of energy, right? So generates its own energy, which would be really good for the environment. So it will still be an electrical vehicle, but the electricity is being generated by itself. They're also looking into new high voltage architecture and power conversion components, because as you make bigger and more effective electrical vehicles, they would need an increased power conversion and battery efficient components. So that's also something that they're going to focus on. So in general, they've said that this is kind of their vision in the 2040 plus era. So hopefully in the next 15 or so years, we'll start seeing these sort of vehicles, these sort of technology kind of being baked into the vehicles that are coming up. So keep your eyes peeled. I'm very excited about these features, and let's see how other competitors think around their version of future and what features they try to put into their vehicles. Right. So since our last news was about future, let's make this news about fun. Hyundai has introduced electric cars that have simulated gear shifting for enhanced driving experience. You might feel that your electrical vehicle might be too calm, too smooth, and you might be missing out on that thrill of right, the exhilaration that the stick shift that used to provide you. Now no more, right? Hyundai Ioniq 5N, as well as I think there was another one, the Kia EV6 GT. Now they are featuring simulated gear shifting movements that basically mimic traditional driving sensations. They have tactile feedback and engine sound effects to enrich the driving experience. So it'll probably even though the car is electrical, you will feel as if you're, the sounds, the amount of vibrations that you will feel, that'll to you, it'll make it feel like you're driving stick shift. Of course, drivers seem to love this. There were people who were kind of skeptical about this, but once they experience this, what's not to love about this, right? It's like best of the both worlds. That said, the cars still retain all their benefits of zero emission driving because they are electrical vehicles. So no compromises there. So I think that's a really fun angle to electrical vehicles. If you want to explore that, check out Hyundai's new lineup. Okay, now let's move to internet, business, and people section. But before we move on to our first item, I'd like to bring an update from one of the items that we mentioned in our last episode, and this was about the ongoing crisis in the middle management positions. We saw that there are articles that are talking about how middle management hiring has plunged. There is no sign of recovery. In fact, there might be elimination of positions. And there were articles from Forbes saying the same thing. How white collar jobs in middle management positions are disappearing, and now we actually and sadly have kind of proof of that. So Google, in our first story here, Google is laying off 10% of its manager roles globally, and they're focusing again on managerial workforce, not on individual contributors. That means it's people who are managers, directors, and vice presidents. And Google's not alone here. Volkswagen is doing the same in Germany. They're cutting 35,000 jobs in Germany, and again they are specifically targeting management roles, management support roles to be specific, and 35,000 is a big number. You might know of another company called Cargill. They're a really famous food manufacturer, food supplier, and they are cutting 8,000 jobs globally, which is 5% of its workforce. Again, it is targeted at senior positions below the executive level. And then another company, Airbus, again, very famous aerospace manufacturer, is cutting 2,000 jobs, and again focusing specifically on management support roles. And these are just pretty much a hand-picked companies that I've found, a handpicking of a few companies that you might just recognize, but this is happening across the board. So as I said last time, the best bet if you would want to stay current, stay employed, is to develop some skills that are beyond pure people management. Even if everything's okay in your company, that having a skill where you can more effectively use your time, potentially using AI, or learn a new skill that can help your team a bit, that is always a good thing, to be able to use your time more effectively. Right? Anyways, we'll keep an eye out on how this unfolds in the near future, because this is a big change that probably will continue easily in the coming year, throughout the coming year. Okay, so let's move to our first item in this section. We'll start talking about news from Mr. Elon Musk's Starlink. Starlink has started a direct-to-phone service recently, direct-to-cell service recently. It's basically launched 20 satellites to enable this direct-to-cell service, which means now you can get a cellular signal directly from the satellite. You don't have to be tied up with a certain provider and their coverage network, right? So now these are satellites that are in space, and the goal is that that you can have coverage in pretty much the whole globe. There are no dead zones. You can be near the South Pole, the North Pole, in middle of the sea, doing some sort of remote area mountain climbing, whatever, in a forest. But using this, you should be able to get cellular coverage. In 2024, they expect to start text services starting in 2024, and then of course in 2025 they'll expand on these services to data and IoT, as well as voice as well. The good thing about this is that there is no special device that you need to purchase, because till now, if you wanted to go use some sort of cellular satellite mobile connectivity, you had to buy a special a transponder, or like some sort of a connectivity device, maybe a small phone that would talk to the satellite. But now this would work with your normal LTE 4G phone. The satellite is actually beaming down a signal that is very much compatible with your LTE and 4G phones. So you don't need to do anything special. Your current phone will just continue working. Yeah, this is like a really good analogy for this. It's basically a cell phone tower in space. Yeah. So initially it's going to start from a bandwidth of about 10 Mbps, and of course it's going to increase in future. So good luck if you're one of those people who have to work out there, out in the middle of nowhere. Then good news for you, of course. This is it for part 2. Let's move to part 3.